Hey guys, Tina Renee here. So, here we are. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you guys something. First of all, I hope everyone is feeling well, taking care of your mental health, um, doing the things that make you happy, but above all, keeping God first. I always like to say that because it's true and it's important. We definitely need to keep our Creator first because He told us if we seek Him first, everything else would come into place, right? So hope you're all well. I'm doing well, but but so as a small business owner, entrepreneur, micro business entrepreneur, whatever category I fit into, right? And I think I fit into all of them. We deal with so much, right? And like so many others that run to the internet to vent, I am no exception to that rule. And plus, it beats a trip to your therapist. Therapists are awesome, love them. In fact, we had a candles during mental health month that said, "My therapist rocks." So I am all for therapy. In fact, I am looking for a new therapist. So hopefully that all works out. But, sometimes you just need to vent, right? You're not looking for advice. You're not looking for an opinion. You are not looking for anything other to say, this is my issue and I want to talk about it. And then you feel better. And then you go grab a coffee or a cupcake or whatever helps you get through the rest of the day. But something happened. And I was like, I want to talk about it, right? A lot happens in entrepreneur world. I am a full-time candle maker. I'm a full-time entrepreneur. This is what I do day in and day out. And this is what I've been doing day in and day out on a full-time basis for the last 3 years, okay? So I see a lot. I hear a lot. I go through a lot. And I don't tell the majority, not even a percentage, a small percentage of all that I personally experience and things that my vendor friends, my entrepreneur friends have experienced, right? But some things, sorry about that, you guys. I got some business I had to take care of and had to stop the video. But as I was saying, some things you need to make a fuss about, right? Or at least get it off your chest, right? Some things, everything doesn't, I don't believe everything needs to be said, okay? So I understand that concept, but I also believe that some things do need to be said, right? And discernment is when you decide what you're going to say and what you're not going to say. So today, I'm going to say something. So let's start. And of course, I'm not going to mention the company's name. And I would even dare say college, okay? This was a college, which is a company. It's all a money-making mule, right? A college. Okay, a college reached out to us a few weeks ago, all in September. So in September, and we are now in October. Mid-October, might I add. So in September, a college reached out to us and said, hey, we want to do a candle making party. Well, amazing, because that's what we do. We do candle making parties. We make candles, all of the things. We're here for you, right? So we sent over the agreement, which is a candle making booking agreement. And it just basically goes over what happens in the party, releasing whiffs on wheels of liability for any issues that would happen in that party and blase, right? A pretty typical standard release of liability type of agreement that you would sign if you were going to go parasailing or any other event that could cause some sort of harm or danger, right? Ours is no different. We just make candles. So we sent that over and it was signed and sent back. So we put that college on the books for a candle making party. With Whiffs on Wheels, we pride ourselves on being able to provide a book now, pay later service. And what that entails is you can book your party now and you will not have to pay for your party until 14 days before your party date, okay? So let's say your birthday's in April. And you're going to have 30 people in your party, right? Now, that's a pretty large tab to pay. Our parties are $50 per person. We recently increased our rates just because of gas and all the other economical factors that are out there that affect our business. we have to raise our prices too. Prices are raised for what we have to purchase, and in turn, we unfortunately have to raise our prices. So we do charge $50 per person, and it is worth every last penny. We have a great time there. But to stay on track, that college had 14 business days to pay their 14 business days out to pay. Well, they wanted to book their party for October, and they were sent the contract in September. So essentially they had almost a month to get their funds together and pay their invoice, right? Well, on the 14th day prior to their party, my POS system sends out a, hey, it's time to pay. That's system automated. It's not anything that Whisk on Wheels sends out. It's completely system automated, and it just reminds our customer that they need to pay their contract. Well, up until that point, I had been dealing with one person with the college and one person only, okay? I had not been communicating via email or via phone with any person other than this one individual at the college. All of a sudden, on the 14th day, I get an email from someone new from the college asking all sorts of questions that were outlined in the agreement. Now, I have no problem with answering questions. We know how agreements are. There's a lot of verbiage, and sometimes we just don't read it. So there was no harm, no foul there. But the questions were really interesting. The question was, well, are we going to be using hot wax? And do we need to provide you with an electrical outlet? And do you have a particular type of insurance? Now, keep in mind, with this particular college, they requested that I have a general liability insurance policy. No harm, no foul. I got it. I paid a pretty penny for that policy, and I sent my policy over to them in September. If there was any questions about the policy, they should have been asked prior to the invoice being due. But there were no questions asked. I was led to believe all was well, and we were going to have a candle making party. On that 14th day prior to the party, this individual with the college that I'd never spoken to started asking the weird questions that I just told you about. Are you going to be using hot wax? Well, yeah, absolutely. We're making candles, and I understand that not every candle is made with hot wax. Some candles are made with sand, and some candles are made with gel. And I'm sure you can make candles with crayons and all sorts of other things. But our candles are made with hot wax, soy wax. So I let this individual know with the college, yes, we will be using hot wax. And yes, we do need an electrical socket. And yes, I do have insurance, the insurance you requested, but I don't have this new insurance that you're mentioning in your email. So what happened was, in the email, they said I needed a different type of verbiage insurance. So basically they said your insurance has, when you have an insurance policy, there's a particular verbiage that the vendor wants you to have. When I sent over my policy, there was no question about the verbiage, but now that it was time to pay, there was a ton of questions about the verbiage. Well, for me, I would have to pay my insurance company for a new policy, essentially is what I was being asked to do. And as a business owner, I said, unfortunately, that doesn't work for me. I would have paid for this policy that you are now asking for, but because I've already paid for a policy, this is all in email, we're talking, electronically communicating. I said, but now because I'm being asked to pay for a new policy, unfortunately, that doesn't financially work for my business, is what I said in so many words. So then they responded, and here's another thing. The hot wax question and the electrical socket, they literally have to agree that they will be providing an electrical socket for us. And they also have to agree that they will not have any mishandling of the hot wax. And should they have that mishandling, we are releasing liability, okay? So that was all signed in the contract. Unfortunately, this new person with the college didn't see that contract ever until that day. Unfortunately, that's not my problem. I received a signed contract from my contact over at the college. This new person didn't see it and now has all these questions. So moving forward, I get an email back to my email letting them know that I would not be purchasing a new policy. That was not feasible financially for my business. They then said, well, can you just change the email address in the policy? I said, that might be something we can do without a fee. However, we cannot accommodate you on a different day that you are wanting to do your party on. That's another thing. I'm so sorry I left out. They now wanted to change their date from a weekday, from the day that they had, which was a Thursday, to another Thursday in November. Unfortunately for them, I don't have availability in November for candle making parties. So I let them know that we unfortunately don't have availability. So not only, are you asking to have me provide you with another insurance policy and make all these revisions, you're now asking for a new date, which would be fine, but that date is no longer available. So pretty much, how do you want to proceed? And they pretty much said in an email, if you can't do this date, we can't do it. The reason why that is problematic is because I've held that date for them. So you're holding a date that now the company is not the college. The college is not going to keep. In addition to it, you're out a pretty penny for an insurance policy that you're never going to use, because the way my insurance policies work, they work on an event by event basis. Meaning, if I'm going to be in Anaheim, the city of Anaheim, at Disneyland vending, I'll get an insurance policy for that day for that location. However, if I'm going to be out in San Bernardino at the college vending, then I'm going to get a policy for that day at that college. And each company has different insurance requirements, different verbiage requirements. That's why I don't have a standard policy. I get the policies based on the events that I go to and what they require. So I was out a pretty penny for that policy. I was able to let that be water under the bridge. It is what it is. This is business. Things happen. It's fine. This company then reached back, this college, I keep calling them a company, which they are, but this college, I want to put emphasis on that because you hold certain businesses to a certain standard, right? I don't hold McDonald's to a high standard. I'm sorry, I just don't. I really don't eat McDonald's as it is. I might do like an iced coffee occasionally, but I don't go in McDonald's expecting 5-star service. In fact, I expect 1-star service because that's typically what I get at McDonald's. However, when I go out to a 5-star restaurant, I do expect 5-star service, right? So dealing with a college, I just expected things to be a little different. Okay. And maybe that's ignorance on my part. I'm a fairly new business. I am a new business owner and I'm definitely new to the contract world. So I just didn't expect that. I didn't expect them to be so unprofessional with the way in which they handled my agreement, which is legal and binding, and the way they handled me as a business owner. It just didn't gel for me. Anyway, I am a big fan of letting bygones be bygones, and they reached out and said, we want to do a fundraiser with you. I'm like, amazing. Fundraisers are amazing. It's an opportunity for your college to earn funds and for my small business to grow through making funds as well. Let's do it. So again, I sent over a fundraising agreement, which is totally different than our candle making party agreements, but it's an agreement nonetheless. The terms are different because it's obviously fundraising and not candle making, but it's all the same. It's a legal and binding contract. So I sent over the contract and to my initial contact that I'd been dealing with, and this second person sent it back in a totally different, funky, weird format. Okay. So I'm looking at the contract and I'm like, this is weird. It's funky. The text, my signature, they said, we'd like a signature from you on this agreement, which is weird because on my contracts, only the applicant, okay, signs. They sign agreeing to the terms. There's no need for me to sign agreeing to the terms. They're my terms. It's for you to sign. You're entering in a contract with Whiffs on Wheels. But they sent back an Adobe DocuSign type funky. The text was so weird and funky that it was overlapping. It was weird, but I didn't think anything of it because you don't think that a college is going to. So anyway, I signed the document. That was weeks ago. Our fundraiser was scheduled to start 2 days ago. Well, the second contact person, okay, emailed me and said, oh my goodness, there's so many errors. We need to change this. We need to change that. We need to change that. We need to change that. And she was right. I had, there were a few things that, from my last fundraiser that it kind of trickled over into this fundraiser, and I forgot to change some text and some verbiage. Not a problem. I thanked her for the great catch that she had found, and I immediately next day made all those changes and sent an email and said, okay, changes are made. We are live. There was one change that she wanted that was per the contract not going to change. She wanted me to take a certain verbiage out of the contract. And I said, well, no, I didn't change that, but I changed everything else. She said, well, per the contract that you signed, that verbiage isn't there. Come again? She said the contract that you signed, that verbiage that you're telling me to put in, the verbiage that I'm telling you to take out off the website, off of our fundraiser page, is not there in the contract. So it shouldn't be on our fundraising page on your website. So I immediately was flabbergasted. I didn't understand. I understood, but I didn't understand. You like somebody did something and you're like, I know what you did, but I don't want to understand what you did. It was weird. Well, to make a long story short, because I can ramble, what this individual did is they took my contract, took a piece of the verbiage, took it out, sent me the contract and said sign. Because the contract was funkily formatted, okay? Funkily, we're going to go with funkily formatted. Because the contract was formatted in a weird way, okay? Layman's terms. Things were overlapping. It was weird, but I didn't think anything because it's a college. And you don't think that a college would do something unscrupulous like that. I obviously signed something that I didn't agree with. So once she had let me know that she had removed some verbiage and that I needed to honor her terms of my contract, I said absolutely not. This is inexcusable and unacceptable. I said, had I known that and this is all in an email format, receipts. Small business owners, commercial break. Whenever you're going to be communicating with anyone or any business, I don't care who it is, always, if you're going to have a phone conversation, follow up with written correspondence because, sorry about that, I had an alarm going off. People will tell you that the conversation never happened, and they're definitely going to tell you it didn't happen the way you're saying it happened. So always get some sort of written receipt of what you're doing, the conversation you're having. So I emailed her and I said, this is unacceptable and inexcusable. I did not know that you had removed a chunk of verbiage from my contract without my permission. And I said, because you have done this, I'm no longer interested, Whiffs on Wheels is no longer interested in having a business partnership relationship with your college. And I pretty much said, I wish you all the best. So to drill it all down and put it in a package with a bow and get to the point, I am appalled, literally, that a large college would have the gall, the audacity, the wherewithal to take my contract, remove my verbiage, not let me know they're doing it, and then send it over for a signature. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Homegirl, you should have read it. You should have noticed. You're right. I should have. But, okay, in my defense, as a small business owner that wears every hat, literally every hat, you just wouldn't notice something like that. And the contract was funkily formatted. It was so weird and jumbled up, but I didn't think anything of it because this has never happened to me. No one's ever sent me my contract back and said, no, you sign. It was weird, but I said, okay, maybe this is the way the college does things. I'm ignorant. I'm new to the game. I'm green. I don't know, but I'm learning as I go. And my God, have I learned. And I've definitely made some revisions to my contract. And I'm learning as I grow. Okay, not go, but grow. I'm learning. I'm understanding that people do like to take advantage of small business owners who are ignorant to the game. Ignorant simply means you don't know. And, we don't have accountants and lawyers working for us when we're small business owners. It's just us sitting at our desk trying to figure it out and create generational wealth for our families, leave legacies for our children. That's what we're doing. So when you have a company that preys on a small business like Whiffs on Wheels, that's unfortunate. And here's why it's so unfortunate, because we could have been a really great asset to their business. We have raised funds for many schools, and it's been really good for a lot of schools. We have done candle making parties, and we've yet to receive anything less than a 5-star review. So there is a benefit in them doing business with us. It could have been a lifelong partnership that would have been amazing. But because they tried to manipulate and they tried to take advantage of and bamboozle and finesse or whatever you want to call that, Whiffs on Wheels is done with that company. They are on our list of never do business with these people. Okay? So anyway, the audacity, the goal, I had to share it with you guys. I'm good. I was a little bit angry at first because I've had some really bad experiences this year. Really bad experiences with large companies and corporations and now colleges. And I expect everyday common folk like me and other small business to, miss the mark. But when you have a large company that, and that's not to say that large companies don't miss the mark, but this was a strategic mark missing. In fact, it wasn't a mark miss. It was a manipulation. It was we're going to prey on this small business because we know they don't know, not like we don't know what we're doing, but we know this is something they're not going to catch. But Tina Renee, okay? She lives, she learns, and she always takes her L's and turns it into lessons learned. Okay, so that's my little vent for today. Thank you for listening. Hey, keep us in your prayers. Keep Whiffs on Wheels in your prayers. We need them. We appreciate them. We're trying to grow our small business. We want to thrive. We want to be able to employ other individuals. That's a big goal of mine, to be able to employ individuals and pay living wages here in California, right? Something that is just so hard to come by. That's my goal. I want to be in a capacity to give back. And even though we try our best to give back on this very minute level that we're on, we know that if we were on a larger scale with larger opportunities, we could give back so much more. To whom much is given, much is required. And we want to give. And we're going to continue to give no matter what level that God has us on. So keep us in your prayers as we do, all of you. And remember to follow your dreams, keep God first, and stay in your own lane. You guys take care.
The Candle Thon continues.
Woo!